Well, let's get started. Okay, so let's see here. Where we left off. Or did we leave off?
Let's get invited to the boxing match. And we were getting out of, we had gone back to the scene of the crime. And the old dude was, we were trying to get Maggie away from him.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And you stole a bunch of moonshine ingredients from the docks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And we got pizza.
Nice. Nice. Maggie had pizza for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, what you have before you is, we'll say, did it end with like the end of the day? Did our session end?
Yeah.
Okay. So this morning is the day of the boxing match. It's the talk of the town. It's not every day the Roaring City gets to host, a boxing match. Dempsey's in the headliner, so it's a lot of pomp and circumstance around that. There's
Dempsey or Dimsey?
Dempsey.
Dimp. Okay. Like dimple?
Well, but with an E.
Dempsey?
Yeah. Like Jack Dempsey.
Okay.
Jack Dempsey. There is a local fighter in one of the undercards, Bare Knuckle Bruce, that's got some people excited. Bare Knuckle Bruce is fighting Dempsey. That's why the fight's in the Roaring City. So the local boy is contending for the fight. And the reason the boxing match got brought up, maybe it's even been brought up multiple times actually, but you headed to like NORAID's headquarters, their pub, their Lions Club or whatever we compared it to last time.
Moose Lodge.
Moose Lodge. Yeah, Elks Lodge, yeah. And at the lodge was a representative from Ireland. Or was it Scotland? I can't remember where Tom is.
Ireland, but he had a Scottish accent.
That's generous.
He had like a Southern accent.
That's generous. There's a representative there from the motherland trying to help fundraise and make sure Frank O'Donnell, there you go. And he basically said, hey, I can help you tomorrow. I've got this, I gotta find somebody at this boxing match. She's looking for this elf named Reuven, Ruven. And so he wants to meet you guys at the boxing match and hoping that you all can help him with that. And then when you were down in the docks, you successfully came away with quite the haul of moonshine ingredients. You went into the southern portion of the city, the portion that had recently been kind of vacated by one of the mob bosses. Gio Feltrinelli is gone. And this kind of out of nowhere gangster Dak is trying to claim some of that turf. There was a like ancient wizard's tower that June spotted, and kind of looked at it, kind of standing sentry over the docks area, and was able to kind of not guess, but like surmise that if you were running an operation over, kind of in the docks territory, that tower would be a very strategic position. And that's pretty much where we are. So you all tell me how you'd like to spend this day.
What time is the boxing match?
Like prime time, 5 p.m., 4 p.m., something like that. Depending on time zones.
Okay, so we've got a little time.
You do have a little bit of time.
You could go snoop around the tower.
Oh yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, let's do that.
that works.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You can. What car were you all driving?
June's.
June's. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Deva, I'm still looking for Frog, by the way. So
Yes.
if I can
That was just a day ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hasn't been long, but I'm just keeping an eye out for him.
Yep. Okay.
Cool. So
Headed back down to the south, southern Roaring City, into the docks. The quality of structures deteriorates the further into the south you get. It's not a wealthy part of town. The smell of the coast is strong, but it's not in the nice, pleasant, refreshing ways, but the fishy ways. The tower comes kind of into view. What's your angle? How are you proceeding?
We want to just scope it out and see if we see anybody. Is that the idea? See any stragglers, or if we see anybody around, maybe we can ask them questions on if they've seen any activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say get out, walk around, and see who's around.
Cool.
Okay, so park the car.
While you guys are doing that, turn into a cat again and kind of scope around.
Oh heck yeah!
Good.
Because we're in the south, you can. Well, a cat's good. It's about a cat or a mouse or whatever.
Yeah.
Cats run faster though, so.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna turn myself into a cat.
All right. I'm loving it. I'm here for it. This is my quick reminder to you. You can do this twice per short rest.
Okay.
Okay. Getting out of the car, walking around. There are folk about. There's all manner of races and dwarves and goblins and orcs kind of sweeping the sidewalks by their house. House is generous, by their meager shelters. Others pushing carts of like mussels and clams or something, pushing those around, trying to like sell them vendor style. There's definitely like people about, but there is kind of this just like sullen grayness to the region.
I'd like to buy some mussels.
Okay.
I walk over to the mussel cart.
Mm-hmm. And you see a rather elderly half-elf, you'd guess, based off the ears, half-elf woman, pushing along this cart of mussels and whatnot.
Oh, perfect. So I would speak Elvish.
Oh, okay.
And ask how much for the mussels.
A smile crosses her face, missing some teeth, kind of a toothy smile, hearing the native tongue. And she says, 1 copper, dearie.
Perfect. So I pull out a copper. I pull out, let's say, 5 coppers. Clearly, I know it's just 1, but I have 5 coppers. I give her 1 copper for the mussels.
Okay.
I ask, like, how's business? Do a little small talk.
Sure. She receives your copper. She eyeballs the rest, takes out a little tool and pops open the shell for you. Hands it over to you. Business is good. Old bones like me don't require much nowadays, but no complaints, I suppose.
Have you lived in this area a long time?
Oh yes, very long time. Me and my late husband moved from the Feywild some time ago. We've seen much change here, especially since the fire.
What happened in the fire?
Oh, it burned down just about everything. Everything's built anew since the fire.
Except for maybe the tower.
It is the only structure that survives the tower in these parts. You're right.
You know, my friends and I have noticed, and I kind of make a little noise with the coins, but I don't look at them or anything. I've noticed some recent activity in the tower, which we haven't seen in a long time. Have you seen anything?
Very perceptive of you, dearie. As a matter of fact, there has been some activity around the tower lately. Ordinarily quite quiet in those parts.
Would you know anyone who might have any information on what might be going on there?
Yes, you could talk to my nephew. He likes to play stickball near the tower.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk to your nephew. Do you know where I can find him?
She kind of looks like towards the sun to gauge the time of day, or her watch. And but she's old school, you know, so she looks at the sun. She's been doing this for 650 years.
Stares straight at the sun.
Yeah.
It is exactly.
The wrinkles help protect her eyes.
Right.
She goes, oh yeah, he'll be playing stickball with his friends and underneath the shadow of the tower.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and the mussel was delicious. And I hand her the other 4 coppers.
Okay.
So a total of 5 coppers.
Oh, thank you. You must have quite the appetite. And she starts grabbing 4 more souls.
And I say, no, absolutely not. That's just a tip and a thank you for being so kind.
Oh, very kind. Thank you. Thank you.
And I kind of, as I walk away, look at June and just give like a... like, nah.
Not great. They're a few days old now. She doesn't use a refrigerator, an ice box.
No, she's not. Okay, quick question. How many, what's a copper? What's the exchange rate?
So if you just gave up 5 coppers, that's half of a silver piece. Okay. And it would be 10 silver pieces to get you a gold piece.
Yeah, so I've been keeping up pretty well with the coin. Stuff I have, so I will remove can't really remove a whole.
So what I would do if I were you all, is I would diversify my coins out. So if you want to take like 1 gold and turn it into 10 silver, and then you could kind of like do that with your money. That's fine. We don't need to role play like you guys going to the bank to turn gold pieces into silver pieces into copper pieces.
Okay, so how many coppers are a silver? You said 10?
10.
Okay, so if I give up a silver piece,
you would have 5 coppers.
I have 5 coppers left. Yeah, so I have 32 gold, 4 silvers, and 5 coppers. So I'm kind of... There's also platinum and electrum in here. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Where do you change that on D&D Beyond, Dave?
You go into your inventory and then over to the right of weight carried, like at the top, it has like gold pieces there.
Yeah, so it's the biggest box on your character sheet. And on the top, it says actions, spells, inventory. Inventory is where you would access it.
Yeah. And it's just to the right. You'll see like 32 with like a gold little like, I don't know, hourglass.
Yeah, Maggie's yours says 25.
And I don't know if you guys haven't changed that, but remember we got paid 20 gold on the first mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's in inventory.
Yeah. Inventory. And then right under inventory it says weight carried.
Yeah.
Go directly to the right of that and you'll see like a number with a gold hourglass.
How many did we start with, Dave?
Depending on your like background and stuff, it's usually like 10 or 15, I want to say.
And then we each got 20.
Yeah. So you should all be in like the 35-ish range. Is that what you just said, Michael? Is that where you were right
I
around?
have 32 gold pieces, but I've also given some pieces out. So I've been spending.
Oh, I think we talked about me at some point having more.
Oh yeah, you're loaded. Yeah, June, you're loaded. Although this is the beginnings of like buying on credit in American history. So some of your possession, is not exactly owned quite yet.
Okay.
Okay, so 1 gold piece is 10 silver pieces, right? Okay.
1 silver piece is 10 copper pieces.
Okay.
So what you have like 35, Michael? Because we got 20 plus.
I have 32, but yeah, if you had 15 sitting in there, you should probably add the 20 that we got earlier, and then you'd be at 35.
Okay.
June, I also just added some coin into your character sheet. I don't know what that's going to do if you have it open too at the same time.
Oh, no, I see it. That was a lot. We're loaded now, guys. Just throw that money everywhere.
All right, well, you can use it to get answers. Clearly, I've been using it, and I'm the poor one of all of us, so you guys can start, checking out some. Okay, wait, grandson's name. I just got grandson.
That's true, but she doesn't move fast.
Oh, so can I call back? Oh, by the way, I never got your grandson's name.
He goes by Tommy.
Tommy. Okay. Thank you. Of
course. And Maggie, what are you doing as a cat?
I'm gonna investigate the tower.
Okay. And it sounds like Lester and June might be headed in that way to find Tommy also. Yeah. So as you all approach the tower, whether in through the cat's senses or your own, sure enough, it's got an ancient look and vibe to it. It's apparent that it goes back like ages and ages, that it was likely built in the time of Arcanum, the time before America. As you all grow closer, this circular tower is devoid of windows, and as you approach even further, there doesn't even appear to be a door. This tower. And sure enough, kind of literally underneath the shadow of the tower, there are boys playing.
So there are no doors or windows.
Correct. No apparent doors or windows.
Okay. How tall is the tower?
Like 50 feet.
Are there any I want to walk around the tower and see if there are any little that I could squeeze into as a cat, or any trees that might help me gain access to the inside of the tower.
Gotcha. As far as crevices and all that, there's not. And it's a bit interesting because it's a very, very old building, yet it's kind of brick and mortar type of look is unblemished. It was crafted with the aid of magic, so it's got kind of this dichotomy, this balance of being very, very old and yet preserved. And then there are some shacks and trees and things that you might be able to scamper up to get a more elevated view of the tower, perhaps even within a leap of the tower, but still no windows or anything are apparent. Higher vantage.
All right.
So what's the move, Maggie?
Meow.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go back to them and be like, what was it last time? 1 meow is yes and 5 meows is no, or something like that. So I'll do my 5 meows and kind of like shake my head and kind of do like a
I go shush, shoo, shoo, get out of here.
And then I just kind of like
realize that Maggie
does
Maggie.
that. Yeah, well,
I believe it is still a cat.
So I just kind of like rub my I just kind of rub against June's legs and do the kind of like weaving between them as she like stands there.
I look at June, I'm like, you better watch out, those stray cats. Like, they got diseases and stuff.
One day you're gonna learn.
Okay, and then I guess June, do you want to walk up with me to Tommy? Let's see.
Yeah, let's head over to the kids.
Oh.
So there's boys and girls all around, like 12 years old and younger, throwing around a little makeshift ball and like a broom handle. Typical just playing in the cul-de-sac kind of vibes, kids.
Oh. I'm just gonna walk up and go, which one of you is Tommy?
And you see, like, though nobody volunteers, like, I'm Tommy, you see every single kid look at one kid.
Right.
And you see, traces of an elvish features on one of these boys.
And so in Elvish, I will ask, do you speak in the Elven tongue?
He nods.
Like, okay. I was like, can I? And then very nice. I'm like, can I talk to you for a second? Look over here. Kind of gesture, kind of away from the friends.
My pops told me not to talk to strangers.
Oh, your grandmother sent me. I just want to ask a question or two. You're not in trouble.
Okay.
Okay. So then I look at Tommy, and I go, your grandmother sent me over here because I have a few questions about what you and maybe some of your friends see going on around this tower that you play ball at. Have you seen anything recently that's weird or that you haven't seen before that stuck out to you?
Well, we're not really supposed to talk about it.
The good thing, though, is that we're speaking in Elvish, and not many people can speak in Elvish. So what you tell me, maybe just you and your grandmother can really understand. So it's okay if you tell me. Nobody's going to know.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
Can I go play stickball while this is going down?
Absolutely. If you'd like to make,
I'm gonna go play stickball.
If you'd like to make an athletics check to see how impressive of a stickball player you are, you can. Playing on the oof. but it's really cute that you're trying.
Probably looks like me trying to play softball. Just gotta get on base.
Midway through our co-ed softball season, Kate goes, I think I hit lefty.
And as soon as I switched, I got a hit.
Yes.
Midway through the season, I think I bat the other way.
I don't think it was that far. I think it was after 3 games.
That's really funny.
But I walked almost every single time.
Yeah, Kate was like, you gotta throw me strikes, so I'm getting on base. I'm working that on base percentage.
That on-base percentage high.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so yeah, June's back kind of in the background, like, you know, it's not pretty, it's kind of cute. Some of the kids are laughing at her, others are like whispering, like, wait, is this? You know, there's like, I think she's sort of recognizable about this lady. And you see Tommy kind of like smile when you play on the Elvish. You know, he thinks that's cool now. Oh, like I know, you know, secret language that other people can't understand, kind of a thing. And he goes, well, a lot's been changing recently. Mr. Feltrinelli or something like that. Feltroli. He used to, you know, kind of keep things in order around here. And, you know, everybody was like protected and safe. You just had to like obey the rules, you know? But when he went missing, things started changing. So like for a while now, some hobgoblin and a bunch of like creatures from my grandma's realm started showing up.
Creatures from your grandma's realm?
Yeah, like the Fey realm. There's a bunch of creatures from the Fey realm showing up. So like just like general knowledge that your characters may have is, you know, there's like different planes, different realms, right? So you all are on the material plane, you know, Earth or whatever, you know, however you want to look at it. But there is a fire plane that's just like a world of volcanoes and magma, and there is, you know, the astral plane, which is like no gravity, space-y kind of a thing. And there's the Fey realm. There's many, but you know, I didn't just list them all. But and then there's the Fey realm, and this is very like rooted in elves and nature. It's very like whimsical, but also extremely dangerous. There's lots of like something that might look beautiful that could also like snap out, poison you, and you're dead in 5 minutes.
Like a
kind
broom.
Of a thing. Like a broom. Yeah. And so along with all these different realms, there are creatures that people associate with those realms. So seeing some creatures that are typically native to the Fey realm around the Roaring City would kind of be like, oh, that's different, that's odd. So that's kind of the vibe you're getting from what Tommy is saying.
Okay. And then, so I'm going to go, okay, Tommy, I only have one more question for you, and then you can go back and play ball. You know how to get into the tower?
Well, you just walk up to it, and a door will form, but I think you have to, like, it has to recognize you, or you have to know, like, you know, a passcode, or, like, you know, it's got some sort of, you know, key. Okay. I don't think it's really a key. Is this about those people that showed up to the tower the other day?
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to know who showed up to the tower.
There was like 5 of them that I hadn't recognized that started kind of snooping around, and eventually they just marched right into the tower. And then a little while later, we started hearing gunshots from inside.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tommy. That's a really, really great information. If you ever need anything, or if your grandmother needs anything, kind of like Mr. Furchinelli, I will protect you at all costs. So if you ever need anything, June, where do you live again? What's your
hotel? But I don't
the Glory Hotel.
Right.
Yeah.
there's one. I'll come around, but if you ever need me and you can't wait, there's a Glory Hotel, and there's a little kid that will stand out front. His name's Frug. Let him know that you need me, and I'll come and find you.
Okay.
Okay. And then I hand him a little copper piece. I go, thanks, dude. Fist bump. Go play some ball. See you later.
Oh, sweet. Our ball's about to fall apart.
Cool. All right. And then I walk back over to June, and I go, I think maybe your little trick where you can look like different people might be able to help us get into the tower. Because, and then I explained what little guy just told me.
I'm down, but we gotta figure out. I think. Do we get a really good description of what those people look like?
Not really, which maybe is why we don't get in the tower at this moment, but it's something that we need to remember. I'm not sure.
Is that something you would ask about, June?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Tommy, what do you mean those people? What they look like?
I can speak to him, right? Because I know you guys are speaking in Elvish, but he speaks.
Yeah, he speaks common.
My language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think when I get that information from Lester, I'm gonna go to Tommy and be like, "Hey, can you tell me what one of those guys looks like?"
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see here. He describes a goblin wearing a nice suit. He describes... This is hard. A gnome who carried a doctor's bag. He describes a red tiefling. It's like a horned kind of devil like. Oh yeah, you've played a tiefling before, Alyssa.
Yeah.
A big strong red tiefling. And he describes a fire genasi, like flaming hair, dressed really nice.
Fire genasi.
Fire genasi. I'll put it in roll 20.
Isn't that what's their Violet? Isn't her family genasi?
Yes. Violet was an air genasi. Her brother Osmium, who you met, was a fire genasi.
Ooh, wonder if it's the same person.
Could you describe the players from your other campaign?
I feel like I'm forgetting someone though.
Yep, you got one more.
They're gonna be so mad at me if I tell them and I forgot one of them. No.
Goblin, gnome, tiefling, fire genasi.
Yeah, that's right.
You got one. There were one more.
I think that's all of them. Oh, but I said 5, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You did. Make one up.
Were you the 5th one, Davo? Is that what you're coming to terms with right now?
No, but did they have any? I don't think so. It was 4.
Okay. That's all right.
He kind of goes, "Oh, you know what? Maybe it was 4."
I'm still learning how to count.
Yeah. So yeah, so you get those descriptions.
They were all men though, which is my only problem is changing into those things is I am not dressed like a man currently.
It's okay.
So
cross dressers.
Like instead of a goblin in a nice suit, I'm a goblin in a dress.
Yeah.
It's like the lady goblin. I will shift my form to a goblin in like a beautiful gown.
Okay. And you're shifting just based off of the verbal description you were given. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make a performance check.
Oh, this is gonna be big. It's a big roll.
To try to nail that. Okay. You don't really have a way of knowing, but you end up shifting your form that does a pretty stinking good job matching the description Tommy gave you. Wearing a dress. Oh, goblins look alike, you know.
Okay, so since I've looked like, ish what I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna head towards the tower, and those kids are gonna be confused.
I just picture them being like, what the heck did we just see?
And start walking up to the tower and see if anything happens as I approach.
Okay. Yeah, as you approach the tower, a door just kind of forms on the surface of the tower. A closed door.
Okay. Is there like a door handle? Can we open it? Is it locked?
There's a handle, yes, and it is locked.
I don't know what to do. Can anybody unlock doors? I wouldn't know how to do that.
I have thieves' tools. So I could definitely try to pick it.
So if you were to approach and eyeball the doorknob, Lester, you would notice that there is no key entry area.
Ooh. Okay. And Tommy did say something about like I don't know. I don't know if there's like a password or something. But we wouldn't know that.
A good hunch there. And Maggie and Lester, could I have you make perception checks?
Okay.
Oh, actually, I don't know if it's gonna matter if you make perception checks, because it was June who saw it.
Well, we're not very perceptive over here. I rolled a 2.
How vain is June?
Very.
Right? I kind of feel like that's on brand. Aggressively vain. Yeah. So I feel like when you shapeshift, do you have a kind of look yourself over routine? Some sort of, I feel like
for sure.
Yeah, I feel like she's like, okay, I need to know what.
Yeah.
Okay. So so never mind the perception checks for Margaret and Lester, which is probably good because you guys rolled terribly.
Yeah, we did.
I am gonna ask one from you though, June. Perception.
Okay.
Go on.
Oh.
Crush it.
There is something familiar about the appearance you just took on to you. You're having trouble placing it. There's perhaps another roll I could ask you to make to try to place it, but as of right now, as you look over your new form, it's this lingering feeling of like, I've seen this before.
Well, that's like how I shapeshift, right? Anyways,
Yeah.
It's based off of like previous. So I probably have somewhere in the back of my mind that I know.
Right. Very much so. Very much
But I
so.
don't know who I am.
Yeah, because you were described a goblin, which traditionally wouldn't really work for you. But in trying to summon the appearance of the description, you had to lean on goblins you have seen in your life. And there is something very familiar about the reflection you are looking into now.
Ooh. Okay. I don't know what to do with that. These guys know nothing. They have not seen me before. They've not seen this goblin, have they?
Not technically, no.
I know what you're getting at, I think. Dave, can I say it?
Yeah, sure.
Out of character?
Oh, is it out of character?
Well, I'm a cat right now.
Oh.
So.
Then no, don't say it.
Okay.
Oh no.
I mean,
did we run to a goblin before?
You
I'm trying
have.
to think if I have interacted with a goblin. Yeah, no.
I don't think you've interacted with a goblin.
You witnessed something.
But you have, there has been a goblin in our campaign that has been observed.
Okay, June, let's go back, right? We're thinking at the party.
Yeah. Goblin, was the fight have goblin? I don't know where those notes are.
Which fight?
Shoot.
Oh, the fight. So the person who walked up to Al Capone,
yeah,
and then got punched somebody, and Al just laughed it off.
The individual who broke a champagne flute and started stabbing one of Capone's henchmen was a goblin, and that is the appearance that June is now in.
Okay. Okay. So
just for what it's worth. Yes.
They did the stabbing.
Yeah, so you are in the appearance of the goblin who did the stabbing at Kareen's birthday party.
Okay. Right so now.
In
clearly
a dress.
Working for in a dress. A murderous, violent goblin in a dress. Okay. So figured out I'm gonna share this knowledge now with you guys since I figured it out. Which means that this is all tying back to Capone. Clearly, is the one making the moves down here. But I don't know who those other people were. I don't know how that helps us get inside.
Wait, so didn't we come to the decision that the 4 people that had been described going into this were of the 4 in Devo's other campaign?
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, the goblin that was stabbing somebody at Kareen Quickfoot's party was of Devo's other campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was Adrian, right? That was the guy who had stay with us this weekend.
Multiverse.
Random man at a party. All right, that's cool.
He's gonna be happy to hear that he is now a cross-dresser.
Yeah. He's in a dress. Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a handle, but there's no lock.
But it is locked. Yes, correct.
But there's no way to pick it.
Correct.
There's no way to pick it.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
So it's magical.
Yes. You get the sense that everything about this structure is magical.
Okay, let me see if I haven't.
Let's say I have nothing magical about me, so.
Yeah, I don't know that prestidigitation could help in this situation. Because if it's not a key, I can't make a key. Huh?
Would heat metal, Devo?
What would you be trying to do?
Nope.
Heat the metal to melt it or something.
I mean, that concept, it very much is an application of heat metal, right? I'm going to melt the hinges right off this door and kick it in.
Yeah.
That's an excellent use of heat metal. And you could certainly try it. But I would say before you use that spell slot, make a Arcana check or a History check.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I'm about 3 seconds from pulling out my Tommy gun and trying to shoot this door down. So I got to figure this out.
Also, my spells aren't in D&D Beyond.
Oh. 14 history. You, from what you know of these ancient wizard towers, basically, that have popped up throughout civilizations, something like simply heating up the metal to break down the door is unlikely to be effective on a structure that has been standing for so long and happened to survive the Great Fire that ravaged this city.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you guys stew in this for a little bit.
Okay, let's think about the people that were in the group that got into. So a Fire Genasi, a Dr. Gnome, the Goblin, and a Tiefling. What would they have that could get them in? I guess that doesn't help. I don't know if that helps at all.
You know what? There were 5. There was not 4. There was
the fifth one was the one that
Tommy about to call back over and say, actually, it is 5.
Yeah, Tommy runs over. He's got a big wad of gum. He already blew his copper. He didn't get the ball. He was supposed to. And he describes a human with kind of a militaristic vibe, like a war vet.
I'm so stuck.
Yeah.
And it's really unlikely that I can shoot this door down.
I mean, it's on brand for Lester to try.
Did Tommy say if those people came out? I know we heard gunshots. Did we know if they came out of the tower?
That didn't get mentioned. Didn't get brought up.
Ooh.
Okay. We could definitely put Davo in a pickle if we go and try to fight the players that are not currently playing right now.
Well, they're NPCs now.
Gotcha. Davo, if they killed us, would we be dead? Like if I show up in 2 weeks and it's like, by the way, your character he's dead, so sorry.
That's interesting. Yeah. No. No, you would not be dead.
What an answer.
But
this could quickly turn into I don't care about anything else that's happening in the Roaring City. I just want to hunt down Davo's other party.
Right.
But Davo has to explain the next time they talk. Like, yeah, guys, so all of you have to restart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Oh my gosh.
Or just do like a battle royale one shot.
I mean, that kind of stuff is reasonable. But imagine you guys hunting down that goblin, murdering him, and then I'm like, hey, so if I'm really sticking to this multiverse thing, your character's dead. What do you mean? We weren't even playing. Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird?
I'm gonna unload 1 bullet into the door and see what it does.
Okay. You know, it kind of does like the bullet hitting metal ricochet, but also there's this kind of, you know, like kind of magical reaction as well.
Like a force field
onto this tower. I mean, not literally a force field. You know, it's not protected by some secret layer of force. You know, but it is a magical edifice. You know.
Can I do this the obvious thing here? Because I feel like we could sit here all day and then realize this at the very end and feel really dumb. I'm just gonna reach out and touch the door. Just make sure that it's actually there.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like, and not like something I can just literally walk through, and we just haven't tried it yet.
Gotcha. I mean, I assumed when June asked if it's locked, I assumed she tried the handle. But yeah, you do physically interact with the door. After your bullet, yeah, that would have been pretty funny.
I did see Davo absolutely like sitting us here for 30 minutes,
right?
And then finally, one of us like just walks through.
Yeah.
I wanted to avoid that.
I'm gonna make a note of that. That might come into play later. After your bullet ricochets off the tower, though, there's a few seconds pause. You start hearing a shuffling, footsteps, something from within the tower.
Ooh. Hey guys, give away our cover, I guess.
I guess we could just like wait around for someone to come out.
If you're gonna do that, you'd have to do it quick.
Oh.
Like somebody's coming.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll wait by the door because I'm a cat. And then if it opens, I'm gonna run in.
Okay.
Great.
Oh,
and then I will also look to seek cover quickly nearby.
Okay. And June?
I'm also gonna look for cover.
Okay. Stealth checks for Lester and June. Maggie, I don't think I even need a cat to roll for stealth. Like you're a cat.
Oh no.
Have I given you inspiration, June?
Yes, you have.
Not telling you when to use it, but maybe.
This feels like a good time.
I feel like that's okay.
Yeah, 15. Pretty good.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick.
I know I need to pee soon too. Didn't hear any of that, except I started to hear you in my real ears.
Look at that couch in the background. Gosh, are you guys out of a magazine or something?
Doesn't her background look like it's out of a magazine? It really does.
It looks really good.
It does.
All right, so June, if you want to use your inspiration, you can re-roll your stealth.
Okay, let's do that.
Oh, actually, after you do that, well, are all of you holding on to inspiration at the moment?
I do have an inspiration, yes.
Wow, big swing there. You just went from a 6 to a 20.
That's amazing. Great job.
So my buddy who just stayed at our house and was dungeon mastering for me for 2 years, he is doing a different inspiration system, and I think we're gonna steal it.
Okay.
So I like to use inspiration like I would as a teacher to like reward stuff that I think's fun for our game. You know?
Yeah.
But I also don't let my players stack their inspirations. So you can't have 5 inspirations. So it leaves me where if you're holding on to inspiration and I'm like, you just did something really cool, I want to give you inspiration, but you already have it. So I'm not going to. So what he is doing is he gives you an inspiration and it's an extra D4 on something you want. But if you keep it and he gives you, and I give you, in this case, I give you inspiration again, it's now a D6. I could give you inspiration again and it's a D8. But as soon as you use it, whatever dice it was, you start back down to the D4. So I could give you 5 inspirations and you could store them all and it would become like a D12 or something like that. Yeah. So I think we're gonna start doing that.
Cool.
But I feel like you guys should kind of like use yours first. Like we should have a fresh. I don't know.
If we're about to get a fight,
I have no fun inspiration, so.
Okay, so we got a 15, a 20, and a cat. Not bad. Not bad. So you kind of like, I picture kind of like wrapping around to the other side of the tower or jumping behind some like crates or something laying around nearby. And you see a pretty hulking hobgoblin walk out.
Oh, that guy.
Door opens.
Probably Dak, by the way.
It's Dak.
Nice.
It is Dak.
Nice.
And you go inside? Okay. Door opens. Door closes. Dak is outside of the tower. And he kind of looks at the door. You know, like perhaps where the bullet hit. And he kind of like does a look around. Actually. All right.
Do it. Roll for it.
Oh
no. Interesting. Let's do. He looks around and he thinks. Question is, does Lester know that he's been clocked? No, I don't think he does. Lester thinks he's pretty well hidden with the 15.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Dak's eyes, just for a briefest moment, rest on where Lester hid himself away. And then he starts marching away from the tower. He's walking away.
I kind of want to follow him.
Okay. Maggie, you see couple. I wasn't actually intending on you guys, one of you at least, getting in the tower.
Yes. You're gonna let us like wait outside of it, trying to figure it out.
Well, I mean, there's one way, apparently not, one way to get in. And
you would have thought the door would work. Just the classic, like, hey, put a bullet in.
Wait for somebody to open it.
June found out how to get to the door. You shot at it, and I got inside.
Teamwork.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, for this room, I feel like I remember this room well. This is kind of like an opulent, a very fancy mud room, a circular mud room. There's like a coat rack. There's a rack for shoes. And there is a pretty thick, kind of like a gym class rope, like a golden threaded rope that is hanging from the very center of the ceiling. Excuse me. But there is a ceiling, like there's a very small hole that the rope is passing through in this room. So that's what you see right now, Maggie.
And can I see that there are different levels?
No. You see a ceiling just, like 15, 20 feet above you.
But there's this rope.
And a rope dangling from the middle.
Up. That's the only way up.
What do you mean?
Like, is that the only... If I wanted to explore, there's no up unless I climb this rope?
Well, even climbing the rope, it would just take you 15, 20 feet up to the ceiling.
But would it?
And there's no stairs, if that's kind of what you're getting at. There's no stairs, there's no ladder, there's no elevator.
So it's a mud room with a rope.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sounds weird.
Can I just kind of walk around and explore this mud room and see if anything's out of the ordinary?
Sure, yeah. You make your way over towards a coat rack, and you see a suit jacket on it that kind of fits the general size of Dak, the hobgoblin who just left. You also see a like dress shoes that are a bit smaller, maybe more goblin sized or halfling, kobold, gnome.
Dak's got small feet.
You see, and then you see and make an investigation check for the rest. Underneath the rope, like the rope is suspended, it's dangling. Mm-hmm. But on the ground directly underneath the rope, there is a arcane sigil or ward faintly etched into the floor.
Would I know what that means or does?
Make an Arcana check. Pretty good rolls. You guess this is a protective ward. This is a magical booby trap.
Okay. So I'm gonna stay away from it. Okay. And I guess I'll just there's no way out, right? Like I can't open the door.
If you were to walk towards where the door was, a door materializes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But as a cat, I can't open it, right?
Yeah, you don't have thumbs.
Are you trapped inside the tower?
What?
You're trapped inside the tower?
Yeah. I mean, I could turn back into a human and get out, it sounds like. But I think I'm going to wait until someone comes back. Like Dak comes back and see what happens.
Will you check on your sheet under wild shape just how long you can hold your cat? I want to say it's a couple hours. Lester, you mentioned wanting to follow Dak. June, what are you up to?
I'm gonna go with Lester, but I think I'm going to change back into myself, or maybe not myself. Maybe somebody that looks like one of the locals around there.
Okay. So, yeah, okay.
In a lovely dress.
Right, yeah, you're still in a pretty nice dress, yeah.
I like my dress.
Yeah.
What's it called, Dave?
Wild shape.
I'm not finding it. Where would it be?
Under your, features.
Oh.
Features and traits. 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
Or if you're dropped to 0 hit point.
Okay.
Okay, what did we decide on, June, for your appearance?
Like one of the locals that we've seen when we were out walking around.
Okay. Following Dak, he muscles his way into a tavern. A bar.
Yeah, we're going to that bar.
And
that's where we're at.
He's sitting at the bar drinking.
I'm gonna walk right up, sit directly beside him, not look at him at all, and order a beverage.
Okay. Now reminds me, I know Dak has come up a lot, but have there been any interactions?
We've not interacted with this Dak fellow before.
Okay. Bartender greets you and slides across a drink to you. So now you're both. And are you also gonna go sit at the bar, June?
A little further. Like I would imagine that they would be in the middle of the bar. I'd like to stick towards the door where I can hear, but not right at Lester's side.
Okay, cool. Yeah, very cool. And the vibe you're getting sitting right next to Dak, Lester, is one of just kind of alone in my cups. Is that the expression? Something like that. Just he's brooding. He's dour. He doesn't seem very happy with his circumstances.
So I'll just go out and say, "Why the long face?"
Kind of side eyes you. It's not accustomed to people just openly talking to him. Most fear him, know who he is, know that he's best left alone. And he just kind of grunts at you.
Listen, I recognize you. I understand you don't talk to a lot of people. I get it. You're busy. But you know, buy a beverage. Let's chat.
He signals for the bartender for another one.
I don't think what I should ask him. This is. Ooh. Business is well, I hear, and going well for you.
I wouldn't say that, but no.
Well, it's tough. It's tough for anybody to come in on a territory like the Roaring City that's so owned by what a lot of people would say is just one person, Capone, and you seem to have scratched and clawed your way to have a little piece of the pie. I think you should be commended for it. You know, try to gloat him up a little bit.
Sure. Make a. You're trying to get a vibe from him, right?
Right. I'm trying to, you know.
Yeah, get his vibe. Make an insight check. And June, you could as well, as you're kind of wow, I'm glad I said you can as well before you rolled your nat 1. June, you can make one as well, as you're trying to kind of observe from across the bar. Oof.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna use my inspiration.
Okay. All right.
I want to try that one again. Nice. Better than 2, I guess. Oh.
Hard. This guy's hard to read, but he's clearly being a sourpuss right now. And he's like, "That's all bullshit. I'm out of here as soon as I can. I'm done with this place."
What's holding you here? What do you need to get done before you leave?
What was holding me? Since that's gone now, I'm out of here. I want to see her vision fulfilled, and then I'm gone.
What can I help you for? I'm pretty good in this line of work.
What line of work is that?
Whatever needs getting done. I'm pretty good at if somebody tells me something they need, I'm pretty good at making sure it happens.
Yeah, all right. Try this one on. I need Capone gone.
Yeah, that's a pretty tall order. But you know, I'm willing to listen and hear you out. What are you thinking?
I thought you were the fixer. I'm just telling you what I want.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna, sit there and do all the work when you might already have half of it done. I can take what you've already started, and if you have any contacts or any leads or anything like that.
I've got nothing. I was just the face, wasn't the brains. I didn't have plans. Just looked at people and made them shy away.
Seems like you've lost a lot of your, so-called power, Dak, from what I've heard. I'm starting to, since I can't gloat him up, I'm gonna kind of attack him a little bit here.
Okay.
Come at him a little bit. I was pretty close friends with Chase, and he used to run this territory. All of a sudden, you come in, Chase is gone, half my crew's gone, and now I heard this guy's top of the world running the show, and I meet you face to face, and you're looking like this. Shoot up and spit out.
I don't think you'd ever be able to understand. But what's got me here is over with. This place isn't for me. This is all just some sort of little game you all are running around scheming. I'm done with it. I don't want the territory. I don't want the name, the power.
So were you the one who took care of Chase? to get the territory? Because this used to be his area.
No.
Was it
Nothing
Capone?
to do with it. Now, out of character, just, as we're developing as D&D players, my no is not necessarily no. Right? Like I'm role-playing a character. So there are times where the dungeon master might lie to you, and because I'm the dungeon master, you might be like, okay, that must be so, even though I'm talking as a character. So that would be an instance where you would absolutely be like, Davo, is he lying? And I would tell you to make an insight check.
All right, I'll make an insight check. I think he's lying.
But he's not lying.
Okay, so I won't make an insight.
That was just like a practice moment. But in this instance, without a roll, you gauge that he is being sincere. He did not have anything to do with Chase going missing.
I go, okay, well, listen, you probably know some stuff and I need to know it. And if you want me to stop bothering you and get out of here, there's a couple answers I need.
All right, but given recent events, your best bet might be talking to Feltrinelli.
But Feltrinelli was out of here.
Me too. Not so.
Okay. How can I get in the tower?
You need to speak the word.
Speak friend and enter.
Classic. Should have known. Davo's the DM. Gosh dang it.
Okay.
I almost suggested that.
No, that's not the passcode.
Is that actually not the password?
That's not the passcode. That's making me regret everything, though. It should have been the password.
I'm like, what is the passcode? I want to walk up. I want to be able to open that door. What is it?
I can't do that.
Michael, out of character, I think I just sent you a message on Discord. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh.
Something that I want you to ask.
Ooh.
You can't see it. I can meander my way over as Jude and ask.
Where is it? Oh, wait. I think it would be up here. Yes.
I'm like, if not, I can text you.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask this. Do you know what happened to Corinne Quickfoot? I'm speaking again to Jack. He disappeared after the party.
His entire countenance changes at the mention of Corinne Quick. In fact,
she's missing, isn't she?
Yeah, she's missing. In fact, that was Dungeon Master saying yes. In fact, as his entire vibe, posture, countenance changes, is there a tear in this mobster boss's eye at the mention of Corinne Quickfoot? Yeah. And what'd you ask? Just, do you know where she is or something? I forget what you just asked her.
I was like, do you have any information?
Oh.
Do you know where she is? What missing?
Miss Quickfoot is no longer with us.
You know what happened?
I do. I was there.
What happened?
Feltrinelli showed up with some new crew. They barged into our war room. We made preparations to make our move on Capone. Corinne tried to quell the tension. Somebody took a shot at her.
Was that in the tower?
Yes, it was. Some war vet shows up, puts a bullet right between her eyes.
David, can you tell the other team stop messing with stuff we're trying to do? Ridiculous. Everything we were trying to do, they're just like, oh yeah, they shot her.
But don't worry, I put that war vet into the ground.
Oh. Okay. So.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last thing I want to know is, all right, last thing since you're out of here, like, tell me the truth. What happened to Chase?
I don't know. I mean, listen, Kareen, she was the brains. She's the one with the vision. She wanted Capone out of this city. Me, I owed her. You know, she thought if I represented as the boss, things would go smoother, be more believable, keep attention away from her. No, I'm not a mobster. I'm not a gangster. I don't want any of this. I was just doing it for Kareen.
Seems like you had a real attachment to her.
She saved my life as a kid, speaking.
In my line of work, you people like that, when you lose somebody like that, you kind of want to get revenge. You don't want to run away.
That's why I'm still here. It's the only reason I'm still here. I want to see her vision fulfilled.
What is it? How can we help?
She wanted Capone gone.
What's your plan? The lone gunman doesn't typically work.
I'm not the planner. I'm not the planner, but this Feltrinelli wants the same thing. Maybe I can help.
Okay. Where can I find Feltrinelli?
He's in and out of the tower. He's trying to make friends, make allies, dig up his old contacts and those who thought he was gone that might still have allegiance to him. He's gathering forces.
Does he work with Dillinger at all?
Maybe. I don't know much about the guy.
Okay.
Dak is not that plugged into the underworld, despite the fact that he's been running this port area.
Is there anything else out of character? Is there anything else you guys can think of? Should I ask him? Or should I put a bullet in him?
No, he's sad.
I don't like this guy. I gotta tell you, I think he had something to do with my crew missing, and there's some part of me that wants me to put him under. So,
Trigger happy. I don't know. I mean, we just got so much information.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask again. How do I get into the tower? A little more aggressive this time.
Make an intimidation check. IDC.
All right. Well, I'm like my voice squeaks or something while I say.
Yeah. He's like, listen. I don't need anybody trying to hunt me down. If Feltrinelli knows I give it up, he's gonna stop at nothing to make sure that I've breathed my last. I'm not looking for all this. I'm trying to get out of this place as soon as I can. I don't need anybody trying to hunt me down once I go.
Well,
Do you know the history of this tower?
I know.
But it's old.
That it's very old.
Survived the fire.
Yeah, survived the fire. And I know Feltrinelli, kept that neighborhood pretty clean and protected for a long time before some new action came in recently, and not been the same since.
Well, I can't tell you how to get in, what you need to say to get in, but perhaps you should read your history books.
All right. Okay. And then I just look at Dak pretty closely. All right. How much is the drink? And slide the amount.
Copper.
Okay. Slide a copper. Pay for my beverage. You know what? I slide 2 coppers because I'm gonna leave a tip. I'm a normal person. And then I kind of look at him pretty seriously, and I'm like, if I find out at all that you lied to me, El Chenali will not be the one that puts you in the ground. And then I walk off. I don't even wait for him.
All right. June, you see him scowl in Lester's direction, but also kind of acceptance of death, or a lack of fear of it.
Yeah, this man's messy depressing.
That seems done. Everything we could have gotten out of Dak 2 weeks ago, Evo's other crew has ruined. They've literally taken this man's whole life and flushed it down the drain. It was like
that's actually what it sounds like.
This man is defeated, not physically, but just mentally. He is so depressed. It's like
nothing left.
He's got nothing left. Absolutely. He looks like he just left Vegas with not $1 to his name or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Okay, so
Maggie,
you're walking out, Lester.
I walked out.
Okay. Maggie.
Yes.
It's been 30 minutes.
Okay.
As you're just kind of sitting around in this mudroom of the tower. You do think, with your keen cat senses, that you smell some weird kind of fragrances wafting around in this tower, as if somebody is doing like not chemistry, it's not like
making drugs,
inventing, no, like tinkering, you get smells of like gunpowder or something, and iron is in the and there's just like kind of odd foreign smells, as if somebody is tinkering around with odd ingredients from above.
But I can't see them.
Correct.
I'm gonna
You could totally just play up that you're a lost cat and start meowing like crazy until somebody comes. Because if there's somebody in there and you're screaming cat, they're just gonna think that you're screaming cat.
True.
You have 30 minutes left.
I'm gonna I feel like there's something going on with this rope. I'm gonna climb up this rope and see what happens.
As a cat?
As a cat. And push my way to the top and just like I'm stuck.
Okay, so while you climb up to the rope, there is a hole in the ceiling for the rope to pass through. Okay. But it is not a cat-sized, with the rope being in it, it is not a cat-sized hole. I know you're limited in your wild shapes, but were you to be a cockroach, there would be a gap in the hole of the rope. But for you right now, you're at the top of this rope, meowing, but it's a dead end as far as climbing goes.
Okay.
But you're just gonna obnoxiously meow like a cat does.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, okay. I'm stuck. Someone help me.
Yeah. Okay. What is this? Is this deception? But you're a cat that needs help. What the heck roll is this?
Cat screaming roll.
Persuasion, maybe?
You want to do persuasion? Yeah, sure. Do
that's better than my deception.
A cat persuasion roll. We're all nature, here for it.
I'm something of nature.
You can do nature. Sure, do nature.
I have a higher nature.
Oh yeah, you guys started off rolling pretty well. It's cooled down recently.
Definitely cooled off.
Yeah.
You are doing the obnoxious cat meow. There's a moment where you hear kind of a pause in activity above you, as if listening, but then you hear the activity. So now you are not just getting smells. There is clinking of metals and pops of flame taking place somewhere above you. And Dak walks in.
Okay.
He looks up the rope, sees some cat, like when they're stuck somewhere, clinging onto the rope, and he just kind of goes, "What the hell? How'd you get in here?" And he's gonna take the end of the rope and try to shake you off of it.
I just let myself drop right onto it.
Okay. Make an acrobatics check with advantage because you're a cat. Technically, you should be making this as a cat, actually. Which is probably good for you, unless, did you just roll well?
Yeah, I just rolled 2 18s.
Wow, okay. Because I bet you a cat probably has more dexterity than you do. Their dex. Oh, it's only a +2. You have a +1. Yeah. Yeah, you're able to do so. Are your claws out?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Dak's just so done with it. So you just land on his face with your claws out, and he's gonna attempt to grab you by the scruff of your neck and throw you off. So let's do we'll do a contested roll here. Dak's gonna try to grab you with his well, it's not acrobatics. Yeah, I think it has to be athletics. And you can either do acrobatics or athletics as a cat, so maybe I'll roll it for you. To avoid, if you want, to avoid him grabbing you by the scruff of your neck. Okay. So Dak is going to, he's not very good at this, and gets a 10. And now, so a cat has +2 to dex and a -4 to strength. So you probably want to do acrobatics to avoid it if you want to avoid it.
Okay.
What do you want to do? No, I'll roll for you because we're rolling as a cat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can roll it then.
Which one do you want? The acrobatics?
Yeah. Whichever one has the better stat. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so you are able to avoid him grabbing you by the scruff of your neck. What do you want to do as he lunges to get you off his face and you avoid it? What do you do?
I just jump off him.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of rub against his feet and go to the door, meow, what's out of here?
All right, he's gonna try to kick you.
And then I'll go to the door and wait, let me out.
You miserable son of a gun. Wait, what's a cat's armor class though? He misses the kick. He didn't try to switchblade you. I just clicked on that because I don't have kick a cat on his character sheet. So he tries to kick you out and he misses, and then he goes over and shoves the door open and says, "Go on, get."
And then I scamper away.
All right.
I'll go and find Lester and June.
And who I believe they'd probably be not far behind Dak. Probably. Yeah. Why don't Lester and June, why don't you make perception checks as you approach, kind of come into view of the tower as this odd scene is unfolding of Dak shooing a cat out of the the tower go. Okay. Both of you see a cat, likely Maggie, being shooed out of the tower by Dak, and before the door to the tower can finish closing, you see Dak walk up to the rope and give it a singular tug, and the room begins to shift, and then the door finishes closing.
I knew there was something about that rope.
Yeah,
nothing is ever just an object.
If you had just been like something heavier than a cat, you climbing on the rope would have initiated something.
A bear.
Yeah, if you had been a bear, you climbing that rope would have done something.
Or Maggie.
Yeah, or Maggie.
You would just switch back to being first. You could have one, opened the door, and two, pulled on the rope.
I'm pissed. Throwing stuff, kicking stuff. And I look at Aggie and June, and I go, Dak was my lead. He was the guy that was supposed to tell me what happened to my team. And I go, I haven't told you this, but I used to run with a crew led up by John Chase. And right before I met the two of you, we were doing a job for Chase. And somebody sold us out. And my entire crew got caught. Before I could get back to Chase, he'd been murdered. And the only person that I knew, I thought had maybe anything to do with it, was Dak. And I got nothing.
And I, still in cat form, go and rub against Lester. Meow. Give, a sympathetic,
Is he gonna know it's you?
Probably not.
I look at June and I go, who is this cat?
It's Maggie.
It's
Big Maggie.
Maggie's gonna turn into a cat?
She's done it 6 times.
In the last 2 days you've known each other.
Yeah.
Half the time she's been a cat.
Yeah. So, I'm a little pissed, but...
Well, if it wasn't Dak, seems like we've got some leads we need to chase down anyways.
The only thing I got at him was Feltrinelli. That's my next move.
I think we need to figure out what Feltrinelli's doing.
And June, did you hear the conversation between Lester and
Dak? Yeah, I heard everything. Everything.
So you would know that Corinne is dead.
Yeah.
Ooh,
we should probably share that information with you.
Yeah, you should share it.
Hey.
And then I turn back into my human form.
Yeah.
And I tell them what I saw what I heard and smelled in the tower.
It's a tough day. Sorry, Maggie. I know you knew Corinne pretty well.
Yes, but she was old, so, So it was only a matter of time.
That was old, so it's okay that she got murdered.
I mean, as a nurse during the war, I was surrounded by death. That's nothing new to me.
What's the worst thing you ever saw?
Men completely charred and burned from head to toe from bombs.
That stuff still stick with you? Does that hang around? Does that bother you at all?
No, not really.
You guys are messed up.
It did at first, but after however many years World War I was, 6 years. After 6 years of it, you just kind of get used to seeing that.
But then I just look at the two, I need a beverage, and I need to either see someone get punched or punch someone myself. What are we doing?
Is it fight time? Are we getting close to fight time?
Close to fight time, yeah.
Let's head that way.
Okay.
Is that good? Jump in the car.
A little bit of a time travel montage, right? As the fight night gets closer. And unless there's anything you all wanted to do leading up to the boxing match, because you do have a few hours. Otherwise, I'm just gonna start jumping into the boxing match. Your moment. Speak now.
I think we're good to go.
All right.
We just got so much done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You meet up with Frank O'Donnell outside of the arena. People are starting to stream in. And he goes, "Okay, listen. We're looking for this card shark named Reuven. Okay, he's an elf. He is known for wearing an owl bear pelt, like a fur coat with an owl bear head on it. Right? I've been helping NORAID run a card game, generate some extra funds that the house takes and sends towards the cause. Right? We recently had this Reuven guy sit in for a game, and he cleaned us out. Right? I'm pretty sure he was cheating. I need to, get my hands on him. I need to shake him down a little bit, figure out what was going on there, try to recoup some of our losses. Because my brothers across the sea, they need these funds.
Okay.
So get in there, keep an eye out for him. We got to try to, corner him or whatever, and so we can, shake him down a bit.
All right.
But you should know, I don't think this guy was just like counting cards or whatever. I think he was doing, some funny business, and he kind of like tingles his fingers around like magic-y stuff.
Right.
Imagine playing like poker with somebody that does magic. Like that's messed up.
Okay, so I think maybe we should spread out. Try to locate this guy.
Yeah.
What are we working with? What's the scene look like, Devo?
Yeah. So the undercard fights have been underway. So there's like 75% capacity as you all are getting there. But now it's just starting to stream in. It might be 10 minutes before this place is packed full of spectators as the headliner fights are approaching. So, the last fight of the night will be Dempsey versus the local hero, Bare Knuckle Bruce. Bare Knuckle Bruce has climbed his way up to get a shot at the, for the belt. He is the contender of this bout. He's been around the circuit for a while. If for those of you that pay attention to the boxing scene would just know. If not, you don't know. He's had kind of a history of he's previously been a contender before and got knocked out by a fighter who goes by Dangerous Dan. But Dangerous Dan has since retired from boxing. But he had kind of like a rivalry with Dangerous Dan for a while. They each knocked each other out at one point in a pivotal fight in their careers. And late in the game, you see banners and signage now within the arena that is showing Dangerous Dan is on this card. A late development to kind of pull on the storylines of his history with Bare Knuckle Bruce. Dangerous Dan will be fighting Frank the Tank in the fight preceding Bruce Dempsey. So that's about to get underway. And it's just, the place is full. It's a buzz of energy. There's all manner of, celebrities, gangsters, lots of money, lots of nice fur coats and jewelries, and people showing up flaunting, their status in the city, as well as anybody that could afford a ticket up in the nosebleeds kind of a thing. It's a big event for the Roaring City to be hosting the Jack Dempsey title fight. And so a very like cramped, full arena.
All right, so my thought is our local celebrity should definitely head into the posh spot.
My thoughts exactly. Going in there, full ego, full glam.
Yeah, nice.
June Davis to the tens.
Yeah.
Gonna, if possible, see if I can squeeze myself into some prime seats so I can see everything.
Wait, hold on, June. Are you still
a little bit of gossip?
A Southie of the Roaring City? You might want to switch back. You might not.
I know, I gotta switch. In the car ride over, I switched.
Oh, you had you had a few hours. So you could have gone back to your pad and like glammed out, you know.
Full glam.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Glam Swap was there.
Okay, so you do kind of get like a, you know, the VIP-ish type of section. There is somebody standing there with like a clipboard, and he sees you, and he's trained for these moments. He recognizes you. You know, he prides himself in putting faces to names, kind of a thing, you know. But you see like panic come upon his face. That's it. Oh no. I thought that was the girls go to bed alarm. It was my laser engraver just finished its job alarm. You see this panic come across his face because you're not on this list. You don't have tickets. You don't have a seat, but you're June Davis.
Oh, I have seats.
So yeah, but you're June Davis. So he's like trying to maintain like his decorum, but like frantically trying to like go down the hierarchy of names on his hip clipboard and like, who am I gonna bump from their seat? How mad are they gonna get at me? What's gonna happen? Are they gonna tell my boss? Kind of a thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Oh, Miss Davis, one moment, please." And you see him like make his way down the stairs and like lean over to somebody and start like whispering to him. And you can't hear the conversation, you're just observing it. And you see someone kind of do the whole like, "What do you mean? What? No, I like," you know, animatedly like talking like, "No, this is my ticket," like showing him the ticket. And the guy's just kind of like, "You know, I know, you know, just there must have been some sort of misunderstanding." This you know, like bearded human kind of like abruptly stands up and kind of pushes the attendant like out of his way and just kind of like gestures towards somewhere else where he's being led to sit.
Passed away from.
and the attendant kind of returns to you like, you know, presenting, you know, the way they should go about their business, like, "Oh, right this way, Miss Davis."
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. What is it like? You say it was like a young person?
Yeah, just like a you know, young 20s human, just trying to, you know.
Yeah. This I'm gonna hand this person a silver piece, and just be like, "Thank you, I appreciate it. I don't forget things like this." You know, and kind of nod and give him a little.
Okay, yeah. He graciously kind of like does the head nod, the regal head nod. And gestures towards your seat, and you are for the moment you are surrounded by probably like 99% of the wealth in the Roaring City. You know, it's all
okay.
If a bomb were to hit this section of the Roaring City, that'd be a lot of funds gone missing.
What are you saying, Dave?
Not saying anything.
Foreshadowing.
Okay.
And so for the time being, that's who you're surrounded with, and I'll ask for a roll for you to kind of keep an eye out in the next few steps. Maggie, what are you up to?
I'm just gonna kind of walk around and like take things in and just have kind of like a cool like quiet presence about me.
Okay. And yeah, just kind of taking it all in. This is probably your first big American sporting event. Many of them kind of lack the sophistication and the decorum that you may have become accustomed to back home. But exciting nonetheless. Always fun to experience new things in a new place.
A little bit bigger than your average croquet match.
A little bit bigger than the croquet match. Yep, the polo.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of staying mobile then? Just kind of wandering about? Okay. And what about you, Lester?
Yeah, I'm going to go and look for both alcohol and a place to do some sports betting.
Okay.
You know, wherever group that looks like that's happening, I'm going to head over into that direction.
Gotcha. Yeah, they've got sanctioned betting that takes place here. So you can walk up to like a gated window, an attendant behind a window to place bets if you'd so like. They're currently accepting bets are closing on Dangerous Dan, Frank the Tank shortly, and of course bets are still open for Dempsey Bruce.
Okay, I want to put a gold piece on the last fight of Dangerous Dan.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put 2 gold pieces on the local kid.
Okay, so you got a gold piece on Dangerous Dan and 2 on Bruce.
Yeah, I'm literally just using this to gamble, guys. I'm sorry, I'm taking this over. I'm literally watching this.
As you would, though. As you would.
And then I quickly, just like, real quick, like, hey, have you seen a guy, elf, wears a, kind of a coat?
Asking the wager attendant.
Because I assume that guy probably would have come through.
The guy that just cheated a card game might be gambling at the boxing match.
Yep, and I pull out a silver piece as I ask it.
And you give his description?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And the attendant's like, well, of course, we're not accustomed to discussing, clientele and things of that nature, but any kind of
silver piece.
Yeah, he kind of eyes the coins you're holding there. But one matching your description may have placed a rather large bet on the title fight. Yeah.
All right. He's here. Okay. Thank you very much. Slide him through. And I go find a beverage.
Okay. And your odds are just, 1-to-1.
Perfect.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Okay. The lights dim. They go dark. And a singular spotlight hits one of the tunnels from the where the boxers arrive from. And you hear music as it's being magically amplified through the arena, as Dangerous Dan with the hooded robe up starts making his way out to the arena. He's not getting the full hometown treatment, but this is a Pittsburgh kid who's climbs the ranks. He's grinded. He's come out of retirement. He's got a storied history of bouts with Bare Knuckle Bruce, who's getting his title shot tonight. He makes his way onto the ring. By the way, I realized this. They call it a ring. Square. Came up with that. Where'd that come from? Weird. He drops his overcoat, and you see a red colored tiefling with horns and tail, kind of tucked in a sportish fashion, for this boxing match. And he kind of starts doing the warm ups, getting the muscles loose. And then a similar kind of entrance is made for Frank the Tank, as lights lower, spotlight hits the tunnel across the other way as Frank the Tank comes walking out to their own music magically amplified through the arena. And The referee, you know, kind of does a little bit of the hype. You know, you hear across the speakers or whatever, you know, the stats, the knockouts, the you know, the repertoire, the resume of these boxers, and they're brought to the center of the ring. They're given the rundown on the rules. They touch gloves, and the bout begins. And Dangerous Dan quickly takes the center of the ring and forces Frank the Tank to circle along the outside of it. And not long into the first round, Dangerous Dan scores a knockout punch on Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank hits the mat, doesn't get up, and 1 minute into the fight, Dangerous Dan is victorious. And as the mic lowers from above and hangs over the boxing ring, as the referee grabs it to you know, kind of do the whole raise the hands bit, Dangerous Dan grabs the microphone out of the referee's hands.
Oh yeah.
And he calls out Bare Knuckle Bruce. He says,
"Oh yeah,
Bare Knuckle Bruce, I've beat you once, I can beat you again. I want you. I'm ready right now. I'm still fresh. I took care of this Tank in 1 round. Where you at, Bare Knuckle Bruce? If you've got a spine, you'll walk out onto this ring." And the lights shut off. And a light emits upon an empty tunnel. And sounds of the local hero, Bare Knuckle Bruce, and his entrance music begins to play through the place. And it goes wild. A product of the Roaring City, Bare Knuckle Bruce, who was supposed to be fighting Dempsey for the title, is walking out for 2 fights tonight. Are these fans about to get 2 fights by their local hero, Bare Knuckle Bruce? And he marches his way onto the ring. I need all 3 of you to make perception checks.
oh my god, oh my god."
I love to fight one of these people. I'm ready for it.
Nice.
I'm not a perceptive person. Even though I'm +1.
Well, you're locked into the action.
Yeah,
Like you have never heard of a boxing match where somebody's about to fight twice. Like, Dangerous Dan just fought, and now he's calling somebody else is going full WWE before things are even WWE.
Probably trying to make a bet on this one. After
Yeah. This wasn't on the card, but you know, yeah.
Me and Lester is like eating this
just in the zone.
And looking at the people next to him, like, are you serious?
Yeah, high-fiving, like. June, you see somebody get up from the hoity-toity section and start walking up the stairs past you. And Margaret, as you're kind of circling the concourse, you also see somebody walking up the stairs towards you, with an owl bear fur coat on and long elven pointed ears, starting to walk up the stairs.
Oh. So his name's Reuven. Is that right?
Ruven.
And we're trying to get information from him, or
Frank O'Donnell wants to be able to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is Frank with Maggie? Because we came with him, right?
Frank is doing the same thing as you all. He's keeping an eye out for Reuven.
Would I know anyone who's with?
Would you know anyone what?
That Reuven is associated with?
No. Never even heard of this Reuven until Frank mentioned him at the
Okay. As he's walking up the stairs past me, I'm gonna get up and stumble into him.
Ooh, okay.
Be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. What a lovely cloak you have."
Yeah, he kind of like goes to catch your fall, but he's also kind of like dickish about it, and like, he goes, "Oh, yeah, it's authentic," and then attempts to keep moving.
And then I just like start batting my eyelashes and start like trying to flirt with him and like try and distract him from what he's going to do right now.
Okay, all right. Make a deception check.
Okay. Ooh.
Or fence or
Well, both of them.
You don't have a flirt stat.
Oh, it should have been persuade.
Oh God!
He's too dickish for this. So he just was that.
It's not that she failed. It's that he's.
It's that he's just not into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just kind of gives you like the polite nod and is trying to exit the interaction.
Okay, and so I'll let him go, and then when he's a little ways away, I'll get up and follow behind.
Okay.
And keeping an eye out for Frank to see if I can.
Yeah, and also you're about to pass where Lester is taking in the action as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I pass Lester, I'm gonna be like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Maybe like do a meow to get his attention, and then be like.
and I like very begrudgingly, almost like a child. I'm like, oh. I'm like follow and just like.
And then in June, he kind of walked. He was sitting in your general section and kind of walked up the stairs past you. What are you doing?
I'm gonna follow, but from a distance.
Okay. So I think it's kind of like Maggie, Lester following, and then June following. Okay.
Yeah.
So as he's pushing his way through a concourse, it's like walking through a sporting event. It's populated. You all notice Reuven notice Frank O'Donnell, and you see Reuven just start to bolt. He just starts tearing through the concourse away from Frank.
In our direction or away from?
Yeah,
away from you all. He's about 45 feet away from you all.
Where are my spells?
Let's roll initiative.
Okay.
Yes.
For all of us?
Yeah, we're about to do a chase scene. So it is
I kill him.
Maybe it doesn't matter. This is, whenever we roll initiative, it helps if you drag your tokens onto the map and highlight them when you roll. Because it'll put them into the turn order.
Where's initiative? Where am I? Ah, there it is. All right.
Some of this.
You guys remind me for the third time now how to pull my token over. Wait, like this? Yes. Right.
Yeah, you go to where, like in roll 20, click for your character sheet, and you click on your name and drag it.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
Also, Deva, just so you know, we have the Ring City.
Yeah,
background.
I don't have a map for a chase scene because I think too much ground is going to be covered to put a map down.
Or is it?
Yeah, hopefully it is. Otherwise, it'll be a real boring chase. Have you rolled, Lester? Okay, I see you.
Yeah, it's not over there. Do I need to roll again or something?
No.
Got 15.
Are you seeing the turn order?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I'm last, and I have something that could. very quickly.
Okay, Lester, about 45 feet away from you, you see Reuven start to sprint away from Frank O'Donnell. So, like, picture Frank was kind of like walking up the stairs as you all were walking on the concourse. And Reuven looked down the stairs, made eye contact with Frank, and just started bolting.
Okay, I'm just gonna run after him.
Okay. Oh, so there's different rules for a chase.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you will get there are no bonus actions, there are no reactions. So you can take one action and your movement.
Okay.
And then after everybody's turn, you're going to roll a d20. And that d20 is going to be... I will line it up with a complications table. So something will happen based off of your d20 roll. Also, you can dash as your action, which means double movement. Okay, but you can only dash 3 times plus your Constitution modifier, which would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, right?
Sweet.
If you dash, once you dash beyond that, you have to start making Constitution saving throws or risk suffering levels of exhaustion. Okay, so to recap. You only have one action and movement. You can use that action to double your movement, but you can only do that 3 plus your Constitution modifier times before risking being exhausted. After your turn, you're going to roll a d20.
How far away is this
He's
person
45 feet away.
Okay, so if I dash, which then will make me... I'll be 15 feet ahead of this guy?
Yeah, or you could stop your dash next to him or whatever, yes. But yeah, you have 60 feet of movement if you were to dash, but that's all you can do.
40 feet away? 45 feet away?
He's 45, but he's further from you, June, since you were pulled back a little bit more.
Ow.
Yeah, so he's probably 60 feet from you.
So I'm just going to try to get as far ahead as possible. So I'm going to dash the full 60 and be 15 feet ahead of them.
Okay, yeah, so you literally just start plowing through people, shoving people out of the way, dodging and all that, and you actually run past Reuven and to get ahead of him.
Right.
Yeah, cool. All right. And Reuven is going to use his movement to run his 30 feet past you, Lester, and because there's no like reactions or anything, you can't not on your turn like reach out to grab him.
Sure.
So he's gonna get 15 feet beyond you now. Actually, I wonder if we can kind of do this via the dumb city got going. Here, I'm gonna move us all down south. So we have some room to operate here. Okay. That's what we'll do. And then he's gonna use his action to, you're gonna see him flicker. And he disappears from where he is, and then appears 30 feet further along from where he was.
How far is he now?
So he just jumped another 30 feet. So he just moved 60. So now he's 120 away from you, June. He is 15 plus 45 away from you, Lester.
Yep.
And from you,
he's 105.
105 from Maggie.
Yep.
Oh, Lester, you need to roll your d20.
Oh, yes. How do I do that on here again?
You can, if you want, just write /R in D20. In roll 20, you can just write. I put an asterisk there so it wouldn't roll, and you can see it.
/R
space D20. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so now your complication is not a complication for you. It's a complication for the person after you. So this is going to be a complication for Reuven.
Yes, come on.
And you rolled a 15. Reuven, at the start of his turn, knocks over somebody's popcorn. And out of the corner of your all's eye, you recognize the person who just had their popcorn spilled out was Hoot. That's your complication. Hoot just had his popcorn knocked over. And Reuven, interesting.
Uh-oh.
Reuven jostles past people trying to get away from you all, and he bumps into somebody that you all recognize from the Norraid party. He just bumped into a Celt. And there's a little crossover there, right? Because you're with Frank O'Donnell, who's chasing this guy. But it's just kind of circumstance for this particular interaction. All right, June. You are up. You're 120 feet from Reuven.
How far can I travel if I'm just
30.
run as far as I can? 30?
30, and then if you want to use your action to dash, you can travel 60.
30. So that puts me 90 feet away. All right, we're gonna run 30, and then I'm gonna try and put this person to sleep.
What's the range on sleep?
90.
Okay. All right.
90.
All right. So you're literally at the limit of that spell? Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get to spells.
Wow, 5d8.
Oh, I didn't click the right thing, huh? Why is it doing this? What?
We just need to roll
Hold on.
5d8. Are you able to click on the 5d8 and does it
I think so.
Yeah, my D&D Beyond is like acting up at the moment. Let's see. Here we go. Yes. Did it do it?
No, you clicked it again. Go to roll 20. You clicked it.
Yeah, I keep
gotcha.
cast. It says spell slot +1.
Can I click on
level
it?
1. I can go up and down.
I was able to click
so
on it.
Level 2? Huh?
I was able to click on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just doing it again. I feel like, did I roll really bad for that, though? Should
that was me clicking level 2.
Go to roll 20, Alyssa, and you'll see in the chat where you're actually like putting this spell in. And if you click the 5d8, it will roll it for you.
So smart.
Okay. So first of all, I'm disappointed that this spell says the creature you choose, because I was hoping you would just make a whole bunch of spectators fall asleep. Because how this spell works is the hit points you just rolled, it starts at the lowest. So if there's just some commoner in the audience that has 1 hit point, it would hit them first. So you could have just knocked out like 21 spectators, but the spell says you get to choose who it affects, and I'm really disappointed by that. So I'm assuming you are only targeting Reuven.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you rolled a 21, and Reuven has more hit points than that, so this doesn't work. He does not fall asleep. Now, I'm not telling you how many hit points he has, but you needed 1 more.
Come on.
Now roll your d20 for the complications table.
Let's see what this one is.
So it's /R
space D20.
Space D20.
Let's keep rolling eye on these. The more fun ones are low.
Yeah, it's fun for you. That's this guy.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so your complication. Oh wait, but did I do your complication? Oh yeah, it wouldn't have been Reuven that bumped into the NORAID member. It would have been you, June. That's the kind of confusing part. The complications are you're rolling for the person that's going to go behind you. So as you charge 30 feet and then cast the spell, you would have run into one of your drinking buddies from the Irish party. You crashed. Okay. So your roll, which I'm reading right now, is going to impact Maggie.
Sorry, Maggie.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So Maggie, first tell me what you want to do, and then I will also intertwine the complication that June just.
So I'm like 105 feet.
Yes.
I'm going to move my 30 feet.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cast Entangle.
Yeah, nice. Actually, you know what? Text somewhere. I can. How far away are you, Lester?
I am 45 feet away. 15 feet ahead before he ran ahead.
And how far away are you, Maggie? 105 minus 30?
Yeah.
75?
80, yeah.
And June, you're 90 away?
Yeah.
Right. Can you see the text boxes I just made on Roll20?
Yeah.
Okay, Entangle. I'm assuming I need to make a saving throw. Okay, that's also a 90-foot range. That's good. Strength. Great, not great. Oh, 3. Okay, so you have. Do you want to give a little description?
Let's see. So, like as he's running, I shoot my hands out, and the ground underneath him just starts to become uneven, and these large vines start to come out and just trip him at first, and then as he's stumbling, they tangle, and he just falls to.
Sweet. Yeah, so he is now restrained by those conjured weeds and stuff. I also realized I wasn't including what's his face in this pursuit.
Frank.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. He's gonna go right after you. Very good. Okay, so you just entangled Reuven with a bunch of vines and weeds. Is that how you described it?
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect spell for this occasion. Okay. Oh, and then as you charge forward to cast this spell, you bump into a torso. Belonging to somebody. Right?
Okay.
A large figure. And as you look up to see who you bumped into, you look up at this beaked creature. All decked out in white feathers and a pristine white suit. I'm not sure if Maggie would know it or not, but she just bumped into Owlcoat.
Oh my god.
Well, would I? Because I'm new to town.
Yeah, so unless there was an interaction I'm forgetting at Kareen's birthday party.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Capone's name is on everybody's tongue.
Yeah.
So
but didn't you see the goblin stabby situation? Didn't you see that?
I think only June saw that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no.
So I think I will just leave it up to you, Maggie. You are new to town, but also everybody knows who Capone is. So however you think Maggie would know or not.
In pursuit of Reuven.
Yeah, you are chasing somebody, and in that chase you bumped into somebody who just so happens to be probably the most dangerous person in the city.
But I'm this young, beautiful
right
girl, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So look up at him as I'm running and just be like, I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't mean to. And then just continue in my pursuit.
Okay. Yeah.
And like kind of bat my lashes as.
Okay. Yeah, and you see there was a couple goons behind Capone that kind of go for aggressive action, and Capone just kind of, without saying anything, without doing anything, just kind of mitigates the situation. Kind of nods to you and continues walking. All right, well, you roll your d20, Maggie, for a complication for Frank. Oh, now we're rolling low. All right. Okay. All of the casting of spells, the pushing through crowd has started to gather attention. So there are onlookers and security personnel that are beginning to kind of crowd around this disturbance. So it's now getting tight for Frank. So he's going to need to start shoving through the crowd, or risk getting knocked prone by all the people, the looky-loos and the security personnel. So I need Frank to make a athletics? An athletics check, which he fails. So he is going to get knocked prone by this group of people. And so the way for this chase, but also kind of just always, prone works, is to stand up is half of your movement.
Oh my God.
So he's going to get knocked down prone by this group of people starting to be like, whoa, what's going on? They're casting spells and stuff. And then he's going to stand back up and continue to chase, but he's only able to go 15 feet. Further because of getting knocked down. Oh, but he hasn't taken an action. So he'll move 45 feet using his action to dash, which I think just puts him 15 feet ahead of. I pictured him and June being together. And he needs to roll his d20.
Thank you, Frank.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay. And we're back to you, Lester.
Yeah, so I see that Maggie has knocked this guy down, so I just want to kind of go up and kind of stand by, since we've basically caught him. I don't want to remove him from the weeds.
Okay.
The weeds look like they're doing a pretty good job, but I just want to go and stand nearby.
Okay. Is that
a good idea? I shouldn't remove him from the weeds or take anything. Is there any reason he should be able to get out of this?
No. I think he'll have to make another save to try and like wiggle his way out. But you can hold your action too. Until like if he were to break out, you could say, "Oh, if he breaks out, I do this."
You normally could.
Oh,
because to hold an action, you use your reaction to trigger it. But because we are not playing with reactions right now, that's an option. However, you're totally right, Kate, and that would have been an excellent use of holding an action.
All right, so maybe I'll just run up and I'll pull out my my .38 Colt pistol.
Okay. And as you are pulling out your pistol, as you approach Reuven, you hear kind of a, "Oh dear," and from a familiar voice. And to your side, kind of staring right at the gun, is Eldon Quickfoot. You look familiar. Any word on my grandma? And then that turns over. His 6 seconds is over. Okay. D20, please.
Yep.
Michael. We already got that one.
You did it again?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, so now it gets us to Reuven. He's restrained by these plants. Now, this would be really cool if I could roll a 4, 5, or 6 here. Okay. His ability to teleport does not recharge, so he can't teleport out of the vines. So he's going to attempt to make another strength check to get out of them. That's not bad. What's your spell DC, Maggie? Oh, I see it. It's on the spell. It's a 13. Okay, so he is able to rip himself free of the vines. That area is still difficult terrain, so his speed is going to be halved while he moves through that 20-foot square of vines. But he is going to use his movement to get out of that square of vines. So let's see if it's 20 feet. That would be 40 feet worth of movement. So now, no, he couldn't quite get out of the vines yet. He'd be right at... wait. Yeah, he only has 30 to move, and basically he's in 40 feet worth of movement because it's... His speed is halved in a 20-foot square, is what I'm saying. Okay, so he rips free of the vines, but he's still trying to run through that area full of these vines that Maggie conjured. And he pushes aside some young orc who's being escorted out by some security officers for sneaking into the arena. Some of you might recognize this young orc as Grug.
Grug.
Yeah, and Reuven just shoved him out of the way. Shoved him while he's being escorted out. Okay, so he only manages to move 15 feet further away from you all. Oh, and Lester, you would have been right next to him at that point.
Yes.
Did he lose any hit points with the vines or no?
No, I don't believe so. Am I right, Maggie? Is there any damage those do?
No.
Okay.
Or no?
Only my pistol being did nothing.
Yeah.
What does Thunderwave do, Dave? I guess I'll...
There's no description?
It's 15 feet from you. A wave of thunderous force sweeps out from you. Each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from you must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet from you. On a successful wave, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pushed. I don't know if that helps in this situation.
Yeah.
Okay, was that Reuven's turn? All right, we need his complication. Okay. And did I do his? Oh yeah, he ran into Eldon. Okay, June, you are 105 feet away from Reuven.
Yeah, I'm very far. I think I'm going to need a little double dash situation.
Okay, and this, like 20 feet of this is difficult terrain. And I think Maggie could drop the vines if she wants.
Wait, I thought June was far enough back she wouldn't have been running through the vines yet.
Yeah, she wouldn't. She won't be. Yeah, all right, you're dashing, June?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to catch up 60 feet then.
Okay.
So your 105 becomes 5?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And your complication. So as you're trying to dash ahead, Reuven and the gang ahead of you made a sharp turn in the arena. And so you have to kind of like hit the brakes or you're just going to fly into a wall. So I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh.
All of us?
No, just June.
Okay.
This is the complication she's facing. All right, so you are unable to break before this wall. So you're not going to lose any movement speed, but you just slam into this wall before you can keep going. And you take 1d4 of bludgeoning damage. You take 4 bludgeoning damage as you just careen into this wall before continuing your pursuit.
Love it.
And now June, did you roll your d20?
No, not it.
Ready. Okay, that brings us to you, Maggie.
Let's see. So I'll move my 30 feet and then
Oh, we've already done a 16, Alyssa. Roll another. This might go F that. We're gonna all these. Okay.
Are we wanting him dead? Or are we like trying to question him? That's for you, Dave.
I was. Who are you asking though?
Yeah.
Frank wants to kind of shake him down. He thinks this guy was cheating at the card game and walked away with way more money than he should have. And that money needs to get across the sea to support the rebellion efforts.
All right. Then I'll do entangle again.
Okay.
What is going on?
Come on, Reuven. Gosh, dang it. All right. Once again, he is entangled by weeds and vines summoned by Maggie. And Maggie, as you do that, what's your move? What are you doing? Any movement?
Yeah, I was moving my 30 feet.
Okay, so as you begin to move towards all this action, you and your friends are starting to get the attention of security guards in the arena. So they've actually set up in your path. So if you would like to avoid them reaching out and grabbing you, you need to make a acrobatics check.
Ooh.
With ease. These chubby security guards are no match for the dexterous efforts of Maggie. And could you roll your d20 now, Maggie? Right, that's a new one. Okay, and Frank is going to move his 60 feet. So he's now 40. That is unless you screwed him with your complication. Let's see. Oh. Frank hustles by a woman trying to get Maggie's attention. It's one of Grandmother Crawley's friends. And she's going, "Oh, Maggie dear, Maggie. Over here, over here." And Frank has to kind of avoid shoving her over. And it's and I'll roll for Frank's complication, and it'll be Lester's turn, and you'll be in a very similar situation to last time, Lester.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, team. Is there anything? I don't have spells or anything. I can shoot this guy.
If I can get close enough. I mean, I have charm person. I can try. That's why I double dash in the last one. I can try and like convince him to come with us, where we can handcuff him and question him somewhere. But like, I need to be 30 feet away.
Right.
So Lester, he's being restrained by vines, but that doesn't mean he could also be restrained by you. If you wanted to like dogpile him, if you wanted to try to grapple him up, you could.
Absolutely. So let's see.
That would be your action, is to grapple him, and you just need enough movement to get to him.
Yeah, but I can't be far away since he couldn't move very far.
Right, he's only 15 feet away from you.
Yeah, so I wanna tackle him.
Okay.
I also have rope. I don't know if that would go and do anything, but
You could
Probably not within 6 seconds, but yeah, it could come into play.
okay. All right. Well, then I wanna jump on him while he's tangled.
Perfect. Okay, so you need to grapple him, which means you need to roll and do an attack action against him.
Attack.
But do it with
action?
advantage because he's restrained. He's grappled.
Any of my attack action? Like, how do I do an attack?
Yeah, basically just click on your like sword or whatever you.
Okay.
The damage? No, that's the 7 is the damage. I need you to actually roll the hit.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you're able to grapple him. So now both you and Vines are trying to restrain Reuven.
Sweet.
And roll your d20, please. Oh, and did I do yours? No, I didn't. You have enough movement, so this probably won't impact what you just did. But there are... Yeah, it is. What was the last roll? An 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this chase has started to take you to a different section of the arena. And you think you're able to identify a shortcut to kind of have like a heightened leap onto Reuven for your grapple. But in order to do so, you need to jump through a window.
Okay.
So I need you to make a strength saving throw to smash through the window.
I hope you don't.
You do. The DC is a 10. So you find like kind of like a ramp, right? To like parallel Reuven, but also get above him, and you're able to jump off of it and just like bear hug him. But in doing so, you have to first shoulder through a window.
Which I do successfully.
Which you do successfully.
And I look awesome.
To jump on him, and it looks awesome.
You do another wink midair.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We already have a 16.
Oh yeah, yes, we have. We're starting to check a lot of these off though. Okay, cool. All right, it's Reuven's turn now. I really need him to roll that 4, 5, or 6 again.
No.
Yes. He is able to teleport himself 30 feet away. And he does it towards one of the exits to the arena. So he just goes out of your grapple, Lester, out of the vines, and towards an exit. Oh, and he'll use his movement to shove open the door, and he's leaving the arena. And you think you hear a car rev just outside. Okay. Oh wait, but what was his? Oh, okay, cool. This is a good one. This might actually this could be huge. There is a spectator who happens to be a spellcaster who is seeing all this kerfuffle going on in front of them. And this kind of old wizard looking, like stereotypical wizard, he hasn't kind of evolved with the times, is like, I ought to help, I think. So he's actually going to try to cast a spell at Reuven as he flees. Yeah. So Reuven needs to make... This could have happened to you all, by the way. This is just on the table. This just happened to be your roll for before Reuven's turn. So he needs to make a wisdom saving throw of 13. He fails. So he has been affected by a spell called Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And I think that means he just falls over laughing. Which is going to be perfect for this.
It's going to be great for us.
Saving throw or fall prone, incapacitated, laughing.
Oh my gosh.
So he teleports out of these bonds, but some passerby wizard casts some spell, and he just hits the floor and starts cracking up. And that's.
I have to leave in a few minutes to get the
When
girl.
are you leaving?
In a few minutes.
Or I think wasn't I gonna go?
Doesn't really matter.
Okay. Oh, there we go. There's a new one. No, it's not. Oh well. I'll just start picking some. All right, June, you're up. What you just witnessed was Reuven once again teleport out of y'all's grasp, but then hit the floor and start laughing. Right near the exit.
Yeah, he's pretty far away from me, right? Because that was another 30 plus 45.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to hit him with the sleep again, I guess, because that's pretty much all I can do.
Okay.
Did that work? Please tell me that.
I rolled crappy. Yours. Oh my god. Well, no, that's 2d8. That's not right. Yours is 5d8.
Yeah, you gotta roll the top one.
Oh yeah, he goes to sleep. You put him to sleep. So, especially since we're running out of time, you all are able to catch up to him, including Frank. Frank grabs him asleep, throws him over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes, and starts to, we'll say, find a secluded spot in the arena. He's not going to full on leave in case you all want to watch the title fight, you know. But he's going to drag him into like a service closet or something, and kind of smack him around a little bit, wake him up, and is able to coerce a confession that he was cheating at cards. And Frank digs in his pocket and pulls out like a coin of some of his what he has left of his winnings from cheating at the card tables. And Frank turns to you all, appreciative of your efforts, and he looks at you, Maggie, and he says, I should have the answers you need in a week. Why don't you come find me at the card game a week from now, and I should have some information for you.
And what's his last name?
O'Donnell.
Oh yeah. And I say, thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. If you can try to get this letter to my husband Tom, much appreciated.
Of course.
I hand him a letter.
And I think that's the second letter you've given him?
I don't know.
Okay, if we did that last time or not. Okay.
I asked if he would be able to.
Gotcha. He said, yeah, I think I should be able to help. But come find me at the card game in a week.
Will do.
We play at this location. And then we'll end there. If you would like to finish out the boxing matches in session or not in session, you can, and kind of go from there.
Sounds good.
I just need to know who won so I can put my winnings away.
So Dangerous Dan beats Bare Knuckle Bruce. Bare Knuckle Bruce does not fight Dempsey. Because they have Dangerous Dan defeating Bare Knuckle Bruce makes him the contender, and Dangerous Dan will go to Dempsey's turf for a title fight at a later date.
Okay. So I'm guessing because the title fight didn't happen, I should just be able to
just recoup your bet.
Hey, I'm up 1 gold piece.
You're up 1 gold piece.
Nice.
Solid.
Way to go.
Yeah. And so, you can meet Frank in about a week to try to get some information about your husband, hopefully, Maggie. Lester, you're at a bit of an impasse on your detectiving.
I know.
Yeah, I think next session we're going in kind of open-ended.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me give you this, because we would have started next session with it. Maggie, eventually Georgie, your assistant, would get a hold of you and said,
Me.
June would get it. Yeah, Maggie doesn't have an assistant. June, your assistant would get a hold of you, say, Master Eldon of House Quickfoot, I just turned him into a Game of Thrones, has been trying to reach you. You are inquiring about his grandmother. Her body turned up, but there was something on her person that he seems to think you and your friends would want to know about. And so Kareen was carrying a napkin, and on that napkin was written, looking for Chase or associates. Call this number. And it's signed, CL.
CL.
Okay.
Awesome.
So a little bit of a lead. A little bit of a lead for possible session investigations.
Nice.
Hey!